what's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope and Dope Report. I am your host, Chris Carlson. Got some roommates home, so I'm kind of trying to be a little quiet. Just got done watching Friday Night Fights. Danny Perez actually was supposed to fight Carlos Quintana, but he pulled out of the fight, and actually Carlos Molina ended up taking the fight on 6 days' notice. I think he was like 10 pounds more than his last fight, which was 2 months ago. But he's been active lately, and he pulled up a nice little upset. So just a random little fact there, if you guys didn't check that out tonight. Actually, I have a little prediction video and a news video. Let's talk about news first. Carl Froch has been rumored with to fight quite a lot of people. I kind of thought, and some people thought, and there were some early rumors about him fighting Kessler, but Kessler, he's not fighting anyone really. So for now anyway, either that's him or his promotional company or both. Either way, he hasn't really fought anyone, significant since losing to Calzaghe in the fall of 07. Anyway, he is scheduled to fight either Lucien Boutet. I don't know if that would take place in Nottingham or in Canada, in Montreal or some other place, or Bernard Hopkins. I actually read it today, checked a different source today. I think it was BoxingScene.com is where I first read it. So I don't know. Either one of those matchups sound good to me. I really like Carl Froch. Obviously, he's coming off that hot 12th round knockout, just in the nick of time against Jermaine Taylor on Showtime. I believe HBO or Showtime are very interested in these fights. But yeah, like I said, either Lucien Boutet, I believe I'm saying it right, or Bernard Hopkins. And another, there's a lot of fights being talked about. But Paulie Malignaggi was supposed to be on the June 27th top-ranked pay-per-view undercard, and his opponent got out of that, or not got out of it, but called off. He got called off. So actually, they're trying to maybe go to Juan Diaz on August 22nd on HBO. So Paulie Malignaggi at 140, he said maybe he can make 139. They could meet somewhere in between. Juan Diaz obviously is a lightweight, fighting at 135. That would be a nice comeback fight for him. Both fighters are at a crossroads, Malignaggi and Juan Diaz. I think that's a good fight to come back to. He would be stepping up a weight class, but with a guy with not a lot of power. I think it'd be a pretty fun fight to watch. I think it's a perfect step for Juan Diaz after that loss, but a great fight. But it was a loss to Marquez when he got stopped in the 9th. Let's see what Juan Diaz does anyway, because he's now graduated. Congratulations, Juan Diaz. And he's graduated from college, and he's going to take like a 2.5 year break and just go straight boxing. So it'll be interesting to see when he dedicates himself just to that. He's very dedicated as a fighter and a person, going to school and fighting at the same time, but it will be interesting to see when he doesn't have other stuff to do. Maybe he takes one class or something like that, or like I said, I believe I read that he's going to take some time off and just box and see where it takes him. So anyway, that was the news. A couple of good fights coming up, and obviously Wladimir Klitschko, there's an undefeated fighter that he's going to fight, it sounds like, on June 20th in a different place in Germany. David Hay had to pull out. He wanted to delay it sometime in July. I've heard July 11th. I've heard July 28th. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. So this is all good for Areola, though. I hope that he lands a fight here against a solid competition and, gets a fight here. So anyway, that's the news predictions. A lot of fight fans have been asking for this fight at the light heavyweight division. Chad Dawson is trying to get Bernard Hopkins, maybe going to 168 super middleweight to get a fight. Well, it sounds like he vacated his IBF title, I believe it was, because basically a young up-and-comer, Cloud is his name, and now he's actually going to fight somebody else for the title, but that was his mandatory. He dropped the belt in order to fight Glen Johnson, the Road Warrior. So that I'm really looking forward to that fight, and this is what the prediction's about. Glen Johnson, you got to respect him. He didn't have an amateur career. He got off to a really good start, but fighting a lot of no-ones. Bernard Hopkins knocked him out and basically taught him a lesson early in his career. And after that, he kind of went on a pace where he fought about 500, I'd say. He went on a pace where I'd say I can't remember exactly, but out of like 15 fights, he maybe won some and lost some, about half and half. But a lot of his losses, we all know out there, are BS, So I like this fight. Glen Johnson is a guy that tests everybody he fights and has fought a ton of people. And like I said, he may have 12 losses. He has 49 wins, I believe. But those 12 losses, a lot of them are BS. So anyway, I like that fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. And I think Dawson, coming off this last fight against Tarver, he looked good the first time around. The second time, although Tarver fought better, it does look like there's something missing, and he just kind of skates through the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. And I don't believe Glen Johnson is going to start so slow. Obviously, he's a slow starter usually. That's another reason why I think he does lose some of these fights, because the first 4 rounds he may give up 3 of them, but he gets to you. A lot of people say he puts you in life and death situations. He takes you all the way. He's a really good fighter, but I do believe, and I've heard a lot of people say Glen Johnson won the first fight. I had Dawson winning by 1 round. I had a lot of tied rounds in there, I think 3 or 4. So it was a very tight fight, and I'm glad that Dawson is going to fight Glen Johnson. I've heard a lot of people saying Glen Johnson won that fight, and he's going to win this fight in the rematch. I'm going to say Dawson. I'm going to go with Dawson. I think he'll do a lot of the same, although hopefully this time we see a little more energy and a little more want, a little more hunger near the end of a fight. He starts really well, but somewhere in the fight, it's weird because it seems like he's trying to just win rounds or survive rounds for the last couple rounds, but he lets his defense go and ends up getting hit with plenty of big shots like he did in the Glen Johnson first fight. Even like he did against Tarver, like he did against Tomas Adamek. Anyway, I am going to go with Dawson in a 12-round decision. I think he knows the pressure's on, and I think he'll deliver. Although it'll be a really tight fight and a great fight. They say September or November, so I'm thinking somewhere in between maybe. Anyway, this has been the Rope and Dope Report. I am your host, Chris Carlson. Peace.